You graduate, you walk the stage, you're told education is freedom, but instead you get debt. Right now in America, people owe over $1.7 trillion in student loans. That's more than the total credit card debt, more than car loans, more than the GDP of entire countries. Over 43 million people are chained to student loans, and many will never escape. Today, I'm going to show you how the system traps people and why student loans feel a lot like modern-day slavery. How much debt are we talking about? Let's break it down. In the US, student loan debt totals more than $1.7 trillion. That's trillion with a T. The average borrower owes between $37,000 and $39,000. But many people owe $80,000, $100,000 or more. Some doctors and lawyers leave school with over $200,000 in debt. And it's not just young people. People in their 40s and 50s, even their 60s, are still paying.
I'm 59 years old, and my credit report shows that I owe $258,000 in student loans. Is there any way I can make that go away?
Good Lord.
And here's the kicker. Over 92% of all student debt is federal, meaning the U.S. government is the lender.
So it is significant. This is the first time in our nation's history that we've ever held this much in student loan.
One of the most talked about side effects of the student debt crisis is how it's forcing borrowers to delay traditional markers of adulthood. One survey found that 21% of borrowers had delayed getting married, 26% had pushed back having kids, and 36% had put off buying a home, forcing an entire generation of borrowers to question the opportunity cost of going to college.
What it costs over time. So how long does it take to pay it off? The government says most people will pay their loans off in 10 years. But in real life, that almost never happens. Why? Because of interest. Most people end up making payments for 20 to 30 years. And the longer you take to pay, the more interest you pay. Sometimes tens of thousands of dollars just in interest. And federal loans today, they come with interest rates around 6 to 7%. Let's say you borrow $30,000. With interest, you might pay back $50,000 or more, depending on how long it takes.
Most of these loans and all federal loans are going to be simple interest rates where you are calculating based on the interest, and we've got $37,000 as sort of the central average number for the student loan borrowers. And I just quickly put up here 5% and 10% rates, what the monthly payment would be over sort of a 10-year period. Now you can extend it over 20 years and that would lower the monthly payment, but the compounding interest would be exponentially greater, right? And so when you look at some of these loans and you end up with $43,000 to $47,000 are repaid from the $37,000 that you originally borrowed. This is a substantial difference.
Oh,
this
is huge.
We're starting to get into the house down payments.
Right.
Well, not at the current rates, right? Maybe a car down payment. So when we think about these things, student loan borrowers really need to think about paying early. I mean, the biggest issue is if you can prepay some of this loan and knock down that principal, that will lower the monthly payments, but it will also lower the interest rate because that's how it's calculated.
Okay.
So even $150 extra a month can reduce the payment schedule by years.
Okay, so what happens if you're not making those full payments? What does that start looking like?
It gets very dangerous because every time you add this interest rate and every amount that you've left, that's where they calculate it from. So some folks could end up paying even $50,000 or $60,000 over the life of the loan if you reduce it. So refinancing it or even taking forbearance is simply accruing interest. You're not paying it, it's out of sight, out of mind, but the interest is still accruing in the background and you'll have to repay that. So prepayment, paying a little extra each month can help, even if it's $10 or $15. That can help you reduce the loan duration and the overall amount.
Who's struggling the most? More than 31% of borrowers right now are 90 days or more behind on their loans. That's nearly 1 in 3 people falling behind fast. Collections have resumed. That means people's wages are being garnished. Tax refunds are being taken. Some people are even having Social Security checks reduced. This is hitting working people, older adults, and recent grads all at once. And it's not just the money. Debt is delaying life. People can't buy homes. They wait longer to marry or start families. They can't save for retirement. And mentally, it's crushing. Studies show that 70% of borrowers say student loans cause stress, anxiety, and depression. For many, it's not just numbers, it's personal.
Millions of Americans are receiving the message that it's time to pay up.
We got dozens of emails, phone calls, and messages just wondering why my score tanked and what's going on.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reports that in the first 3 months of this year, more than 2 million student loan borrowers saw their credit scores drop by 100 points.
I've had some that were in the process of closing for their home and no longer qualified because when it was time to run the credit, there was 100 points missing.
Why the system is a trap? This isn't an accident. It's a system that was built to trap you. First, interest never sleeps. Even when you pause payments, the debt keeps growing. Second, forbearance and deferment sound helpful. But most people don't realize that interest keeps adding up the whole time. Third, forgiveness programs, they exist, but they're confusing and hard to qualify for. Public service loan forgiveness, it was supposed to erase debt after 10 years of work. But most people who apply get rejected for small technical reasons. Fourth, the government profits off your debt. When you struggle to pay, they still make money.
Taylor Smith is a millennial on the move at this Houston tech company. But at 25, she has put off buying a house, getting married, and starting a family.
My debt has continued to build up as like one of my main stressors in life. I sacrificed the dream job to come home so I could take care of my bills.
And the diploma?
Yes, the most expensive piece of paper I own.
To pay for Texas A&M, Smith worked full-time throughout college. She also cobbled together 11 student loans.
I probably graduated with about $53,000 in student debt.
Did you understand what that number really meant?
That number hit me for the first time my last semester of college, and it was the first time I saw the full balance, and I had a panic attack immediately.
Panic attack?
An actual panic attack. You know, just thinking like, oh my God, I just got myself in $50,000 of debt.
Then she had to quit her first job, her dream job, registering voters in Colorado.
I was struggling to buy groceries. I was donating plasma and doing like psychological studies just to get a few extra dollars.
None of that would have been true without these college loans.
No. That was a big reality check, realizing like this bill that I have is what's going to hold me back.
Who gets hurt most? Student loans don't affect everyone the same way. Black borrowers and women take on more debt and take longer to pay it back. People from poor families start behind and fall even further. Older borrowers, ages 35 to 49, hold the most debt today. Many will still owe money in their 50s and 60s. You're told, go to school, get a degree, get a good job, but they don't tell you the part about the debt that follows you for the rest of your life. Student loans were supposed to be your ticket to freedom. Instead, they've become a trap. You're not just borrowing money, you're borrowing your future. And when 43 million people are stuck in a system they can't escape, that's not education, that's modern-day slavery.